Hi guys, I'm Jen. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a reading where we're going to find out what you're still holding on to from your past, what pain is still affecting you from moving forward in order to recognize it and release it. So if we don't know what's hurting us, we don't know how to prevent it, and we also don't know where to find it and like how it's affecting our life. So let's find out something that you're unaware of, that you're holding on to. Okay, so we have abuse here. Okay, you see this little guy is covering his ears, so you probably have a sensitivity to noise. There's a probable prospect that you will actually you need noise running, so like once you're out of that toxic environment, even though you're sensitive to noise, you need like background noise, because you're so used to the yelling all the time. It's almost like you feel odd in the silence, so like you're constantly having something running. Sometimes you're using two screens at once. Okay, so let's find out more about this. Who is the person you're dealing with here? What is the personality type? The archetype here. Oh, I love this. So you're the entrepreneur, innovative, sharp, astute, and clever. Okay, you know what? I also feel like the entrepreneur. This is like I feel like you're a creative. Yeah, due to the trickster energy, deceiver, liar, troublemaker, manipulator. Because of dealing with those types of people, unfortunately. Okay, so you see how this person is leaning into the man. So she's off balance, but she's leaning into him. It looks like she's really trying to like over explain herself. Like, well, no, like I need this. I need you to do this because I'm tired. You know, why can't you just listen to me? Like that's what it feels like. This is you. This is where you've been dealing with this. And so like you're exhausted because it feels like you've been dealing with people who just stand there and they just can't understand. They're not willing to understand you. So like you over communicate. These are people who don't understand what this abuse looks like. This is someone who thinks abuse is only a black eye and hard substance abuse. That's where some people have some very closed off ideas of what abuse consists of, and it could be also because emotional and mental abuse is can be hard to pinpoint, and it keeps you confused in like a washing machine, a cycle, constantly moving around, not knowing what's happening when. You know, one time you get a friendly face and then you're getting a crazy face, and you just don't know like what is what. And that's the point. They're trying to keep you confused and in a cycle so you don't leave. And it's kind of like planting a seed upside down, thinking like, you know, the roots are at the top and the head is in the bottom, and so like you're as a seed you were growing downwards instead of upwards is what the effect this is. Okay, so this entrepreneur, I can relate to this because like somebody who works through more creative endeavors, thinks outside the box. You had to be really strategic in this environment. You had to be really resourceful because it didn't seem, no matter what you did, you couldn't win. So it was like constantly trying to figure out like what's going to work, and paying attention, observing. And you may be suffering from memory loss, blurred vision, fatigue. And so this is also maybe why it's pushed you in a different direction, because you're the 9 to 5, the normal 9 to 5, high populated areas. You know, it's like walking into a room and that person wears really strong perfume and they don't like, and you like natural scents, like essential oils, because you're like that. For one, I know that perfume is not good for you. You know, the stuff they put in it. But like you're more of a natural, simplistic kind of person where you're just, you're moving in your healing path, as opposed to like this loud energy. And like loud energy is very insecure, and quiet confidence is underrated, unfortunately, sometimes, because like they think the quiet one in the room is weak and meek, but you're really just absorbing information. So you got a lot of information there, but you're not sure how to like get it out there and then put it into maybe a format. You know, being a creative, being an entrepreneur, it's there's a lot of different ebb and flows in that, just from my own experience and like from what I've read about other people. And so not only have you been dealing with this individual, but you've also been dealing with trying to figure out how to find some sort of like financial footing in order to bring some sort of security into your life with your children. Okay, so what's the negative life pattern dealing with this person has created for you? What's the negative life pattern this person has created with this situation has created for you? What's the negative life pattern? Okay, I only want one. Actually, no, I want two of these, just two. That was like 5. I just want, we have grief. Yeah, you're continually having to grieve this situation. You know what it is? Because it's like they'll come back and love bomb you and you think everything's okay, and then they pull the rug again. It's like they have joy in watching you struggle. And then so you think this is just one person, but then you realize no, there's more people out there. Like the more you put yourself out there, the more you have to hide back in, because you're like, no, this is not just, this wasn't just your husband. Relationships just came out. These are relationships, and you're just like, oh my God. So like you've had no choice but to become an entrepreneur, because you've had to be pushed into this leadership position. It's been painful. The grief is here because of lack of, you can't, it's I don't know, it's backwards from my view, but it says distrust. And it's number one. Like, you don't trust anybody but yourself at this point. And so that makes it hard, because you've not only have you in your life had to pick up for other people and what they refuse to do, but you've also had to like take on like extra work, but everything. Like, you don't have help, you don't have finances, and so like the burden is on you. This means you have to be the mother, the father, the housekeeper, the lawn person, like you renos, like you're fixing renos. You're the counselor to other people. You clean up other people's messes. Like maybe at work, you're the one who like takes on a leadership role, but you don't get paid for it, because there's like a version of you that needs to change. Because as long as you keep showing up like that, you're always going to be targeted. Like, we have to start learning. Unfortunately, growing up, you've been bullied, and I think it started with your parents and in your family environment. And so, or you just weren't taught how to advocate for yourself. You weren't taught those things. So it doesn't have to necessarily be like your parent was the bully. I know that's my situation, but like, it doesn't have to be that. It could be just like, you know what, you could have had two peaceful parents who didn't realize, like there's some shit going on out there. Another grief card coming up. I don't think you can see this. I have to rewatch the video to see. Yeah, and then unsuccessful. Because you're being unappreciated. And that's frustrating. Okay, what is the negative belief around love? Yeah, you know what? I often wonder myself, like the word love, people just throw it out there, and I'm like, well, you need to be careful what you're putting that love label on, because I love that. I love that. I'm like, you don't even know that person. And while people are like, I can love everybody, and that's cool. You're just putting a blanket of love. There's nothing wrong with that. But I had to be really careful with, I just loved every human, and I could give to them like unlimited, and I had to stop doing that. I couldn't do that anymore. It's like I was looking past, I was kind of rocking with the hurt people. And so they just need love from me. And I just thought I could love the hurt from them. And that is not the case. I have learned, and maybe you can relate to that. You've learned, like, you cannot love. When you give these people love, they abuse it. Okay, so what did you lose in this situation? What did you lose in this situation? What did you lose? Oh, loss of home. So you lost your home potentially. Loss of careers on the bottom. Anything else here? Anything else that you've lost? Oh, that came out. Loss of finances. A lot of financial loss has happened here. And that's the thing with like emotional and mental abuse. Like, there's no way to, it makes it really challenging to prove it. And then, so I experienced something similar to this at work. And like, when you go to talk to a lawyer, like what you lost and what you can take them to court for really is not, it's not equal. They don't know how to account for like what this person has, what you've been through. There's no way to really accurately give back what you lost, because you lost finances. That's the thing, like, you probably were paying, if you had to get out loans, you paid interest on that. You're not getting that back. You're probably not getting the child support that you deserve. You're not getting paid for the work that you're doing, and then you're not getting paid for your projects. You don't get paid for the pain. Like, if people understood the grieving process and actually how long it took, the dollar amount should be way higher for like the time you need to take off to actually. And the thing is, like, if this was traumatizing for you, like, that does not just leave your memory. That does not leave your system overnight. That is a long lasting effect. You still have dreams, you still have memories. Like, the thing is, like, yes, you've learned these lessons, and it's like, okay, like, we can make the best out of this because that's what we do. But the reality of this situation, like, this is crazy that this happens. and like there's no sort of real just fair ending for, like, you've had to provide the justice for you. You've had to figure this out. Nobody helped you. Nobody. And that's the thing, like, people grieve when you lose somebody, or you have a loss. Like, people bring over lasagna and food, and like they send you flowers, and they're considerate, like, or they're compassion towards you, right? When you have a loss of a job, time after time, if you have a loss of like the finances, like a big hit, nobody really considers that. You know, a lot of what I've gotten is, well, what did you think? You know, what did you think was going to happen? And it's like, well, I'm trying to better my life, and I'm supportive of other people want to do that. So like, if somebody else lost a lot of money because they're trying to better their life, I wouldn't be like, sucks to be you. You know what I mean? That's not the take I would have. And so it feels like you've had a lot of loss here, and not a lot of gain, and not a lot of compassion from outsiders around you either. It's like you've just been fending and advocating for you and your kids, and it's been you, yourself, and your kids, and that's it. Anything else you want to add? Okay. Okay, I want to get more. Okay, so abused. Where's that deck? Show me more about this abuse. Show me where you're at. Oh, you're at the miracle part. Okay, tell me. Oh, because you're tired. You're needing a... You know what? I'm not laughing at you. I'm like, because I can relate. You're like, there's like other cards in here where they have like little poofs. We just had them in one of the previous readings. Like a little thing, like a foundation of energy, right? And it was this same card, like image, but like flat, like starting to build a foundation. And this is just like, dude, I need something big, and I need it now. And you're like, because I am exhausted. This is like, say this was like a balloon. Like, so many people poked so many holes in your balloon. You had a passion, you had a purpose. And you're like, you know what? I just want to do what I want to do. Just let me do it. I'm good at it. And you were confident, and you're like, you know what? You were steaming your balloon. Like, nobody else was putting air into you. And you finally got to a point where, like, okay, like, Spirit, someone's got to give here, because I don't know what I can do with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this, it keeps, like, it's almost like you can only get so high and then you come low. Yeah, high and low. Like, you could put air in this balloon. It's a cape, but I get it. If this is a balloon, you put air in it, it's like those holes, it would slowly release. So it's almost like you get to a certain point and then you deflate. You get to a certain point and then you deflate. Yeah, I just saw the soulmate card and then rejection. These people you thought were soulmates really messed with your head. They really messed with your head, which was their point. That was the purpose. Look, you're stuck and you're in the gray, right? You're in the gray zone. That's confusing. That's confusing energy. That's not bright orange. That's not red with security and safety, or an orange with excitement, enthusiasm, and passion. This is gray. They wanted you in the gray zone, because that's the gray. Emotional and mental abuse is gray abuse. Like, that's what I call it. I don't know if that's what they call it, but that's what I refer to it, because it's like you don't look like what you've been through. And what you were doing, a lot of people don't like, and so they targeted you, but they did it in ways where you couldn't prove it. You know what I mean? It would be like gossip. Oh, gossip's not going to hurt her. You know, I'm going to talk shit about her. I'm going to tell everyone around her that she's, you know, a horrible mom, and she's lazy, and, you know, I'm going to say she takes money from men. And it's like, literally, men take money from you. So it's kind of like, what the, you know, but the thing is, in these people, you got to understand, if these people are buying that and they can't see it, they're just as bad as them. And that doesn't always make it right. Or like, not right, but it doesn't always make you feel better. But sometimes I need to hear it, and sometimes I just need to grieve it. You know, like the fact that there's so many people that are willing to believe these liars. And honestly, like, it does surprise me at how many people like buy into this, because it's like they're like feeder fish on the shark. Eventually, like, if that shark takes all the other fish out of the pond, where do you think that shark's turning? On the feeder fish, you know? So it's weird that they just don't see that. Like, eventually they'll have their turn. You got to think, like, currently what's happening right now, like, a lot of the people in poverty and at the bottom of the totem pole are getting, like, you know, how do you say that? Sort of flooded out, like, due to poverty and these extreme prices and things that are happening in the world financially. And then the people who are up higher above the water line, they're like, it's not that bad up here. Okay, but if you don't stop this from rising up, where do you think that, like, you're next, dude? you're next. Because once the lowest income people are out of there, you know, the elderly, the disabled, you know, the creators, like, where do you think that water line's gonna rise? Like, you think they're gonna stop these people that are making, like, filling up the tub, so to speak? You think they're gonna stop at the middle class? You think they're gonna stop at the upper class? Like, these people are insatiable, and they're on a mission, and it's like nothing is enough for these individuals that are at the top. Nothing is enough. Nothing. So it's interesting to me when people can't look down and put themselves in your shoes and be like, I wonder what that would be like. You know what? I see my whole group talking about that person, and if that was me, that people were talking about me, how would that make me feel? Oh, that would make me kind of feel gross, you know, because like they're talking about her, and like, we don't even know that. We're just putting something on her. I don't even know that. I don't know what her money looks like. I don't know what she's doing. Oh, I see that she's doing a lot over there. Oh, but she's by herself. You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird when people, like, they just easily fall into these lies. And you gotta understand, like, I mean, it's I don't know if it makes you feel better, but like, they're next. And the thing is, they're so busy. So you've been working effortless or actively. I don't know the right word. You've been working endlessly is the word I'm looking for. Trauma brain. And so there's something about, like, while they see, you've always been working. These people haven't always been working. So when this started happening to you, you're already a hustler, and that's why people put more work on you. These people that are watching from the top, they don't work like you do. They don't have hustle. So when the water rises up and starts hitting them and touching their toes, they're gonna freak the fuck out, and they're not gonna know what to do, because they got all their worker bees at the bottom drowned out, and now they're next, and like, they've been watching everybody else pointing and laughing at the struggle, and then they're the ones who, like, not watching the wave come up behind them that's going to take them out next. Like, it's really kind of stupid if you think about it. Like, honestly, guys, get your head in the game. Like, it's just a distraction, right? And but the thing is, like, yeah, you've got hustle, you got perseverance. These people haven't had to do that in their life, and I'm not saying like that makes them bad, but like, when you have no problem like just sitting on your couch eating bonbons while everyone else is doing the work for you, that's a problem. And you know what? That's I don't know. I know for me, the struggle is what got me going, but I've been struggling forever. So it's not like I ever had like I had an easy period when I had credit cards, but I still had to pay off the credit cards. I didn't go into bankrupt. I paid off the credit cards. You know, I fixed up a house, I sold it, and I bought a different one for lesser value. And then I had to fix that one up because it needed work. You know what I mean? And like, so I put myself through all these phases, but none of it was easy. I was always still working. These people don't know work. I don't, they may be in a good place now. I don't know. Okay. Tell me about your karma, what you've experienced. Tell me more about your karma here. I'm going to wait. I want them to come back. Come out. Tell me about your karma here. Tell me about the karma. This came out kind of funny. Oh, victim mindset. Okay. So always the victim focus is on how everyone is against you. Nothing works out for you. So your life is so much harder than everyone else's. I mean, that is true, but we can't stay there. We can't stay there, right? The water is rising. We got to figure something out. So we got to switch that in. And that's when, you know, that's what that pressure that you're feeling, that's what that's for. Because I know your life is hard. I know you're struggling, but you know what? You're being refined right now, and it doesn't feel like that, and I don't love the sound of that, but that's the truth. You're being guided into something that is actually going to be good for you, okay? And you're listening to that call instead of avoiding it and numbing it out and like being codependent on somebody else. You're in it, okay? So if you get frustrated, take a time out, yell it out, get frustrated. Give that to yourself, that permission to like admit, this is fucking hard. I'm so over this. Like, open that kettle, let it out. Okay, closed off to new ways of being. So self-sabotage. You know what? There's a fear. I think you're still holding on to a fear from the past situations. Like, because you've been working so hard. This makes total sense. Because you've been working so hard and with the wrong people for so long, it can cause burnout, but it can also cause, like, when you've had failure and humiliation over and over and over again. And some people are like, that's just tough love. She needed it. Fuck you. That's not what that is. You didn't need it. Not like this. I mean, you're going to make the most out of it, but this is extreme. And so that's why it's hard, because you just experienced so much at the hands of others. And so you can tend to feel like there's no hope here. You can tend to feel hopeless. And when I feel hopeless, That's when I do take a rest. That's when I do take a break. That's when I say, you know what? I'm not feeling up to this, and I'm not. And that's okay. I also have to admit to myself, I can't do this right now. And that usually comes in a tearful sort of expression, because you know what? I'm frustrated because I can't do this because other people are coming at me. And that's what it feels like. It's like you know, I love what I'm doing. I have a passion. If it's not exactly up to par yet, I'll get that with practice. But it feels like anytime you try to pop your head out to get practice with clients or in the public, like somebody keeps shooting you down. And it's kind of like that game bonk. What is that, with the little moles or something that you bonk down? Like anytime you pop your head up, someone's there with a hammer, and it's literally like that's what people do in real life. They're just haters. They're just waiting online. They're just waiting, you know, in coffee shops. Like, you know, they're just, and they're your neighbors watching that just have no life, and you're the hobby. Like you're the reality show for them. The reality of the situation is you're the reality show. They watch for you. I had a neighbor come out one time when me and my daughter were packing for a trip. And literally no reason just came out to walk out on the lawn. She doesn't do her yard work. She's not a garden girl. You know what I mean? And that is her lawn, so that makes sense. But like the timing of it was, I'm like, what are you out here for? You know, like that, while it is her lawn, it just, watch what people's timing looks like. It's kind of odd. And it's just like, you really want to be in front of us right now, eh? Like you really need that attention. So you could have been taking attention from other people. You were taking attention from other people. Okay, so a tendency to be obnoxious to get negative attention, but seeking to be liked and or connected. I don't know. I don't see this. I don't see. You know, this card, this is for, I think this is for the child. If you're a child of parents who were like this, there's a way, like everyone needs attention, and if you don't have parents that recognize the good in you, you have the parents that can recognize the negative things in you, and they're always like, don't do this, don't do that, get this done, like it's always negative and it's no fun. That's an overworking system too, right? Like if you're never recognized, encouraged, cherished, nurtured, and you're just always like, do this, do that, you know, and it's just like, and then they're angry and stressed, so they take it out on you, and any little thing that happens, they blame on you. It's your fault for whatever, and kids take that on without parents applying it. So that could be also the situation here where it's like, it feels like you might be taking on like any attention is good attention, and what I'm looking at that is like just from the wrong people for the wrong stuff, right? And your self-sacrifice for a higher purpose, but it lacks joy and play. Yeah, you're over it. You need a rest. You definitely need a rest. Illness is on the bottom. Yeah, discipline, knowledge, hermit mode is needed. Discipline and knowledge / education. Like the more you know, the better you can do. And I believe karma happens when you lack education, not necessarily on your good behaviors, because you can be the best person in the world, and if you don't recognize that there are dangers within this world and dangerous people, and you know, you just can't have your head up in the clouds like that, you're going to become a target. And that's what has happened here. Nobody taught you how to advocate for yourself. They're too busy blaming you for their bullshit, and they didn't teach you anything. And so you've had to learn everything on your own. So that's exactly why you're exhausted. So it's not like just that you've been aligned with haters and things like that. It's that you actually have also had to learn everything from scratch. So the failure of that takes a toll on you. Acknowledge that. Like, I'm tired. You know, I had to teach myself. You know what? Let's get some cards here for that. Where's my bag? This is my bag of pain. And it's all the things. I'm going to go through it, and I might make a deck of it, like a real deck, because it's all the things that went through my mind, came out of my mouth, you know, things like that during the last really, since 2018, I'd say. So I'm going to pick out 3 cards for you. 1, 2, 3. I'm also, there's shorts of these if you're interested on my YouTube and on TikTok. What if my kids leave me or don't love me? Why do I have to do everything myself? I'm angry that I had to experience so much pain. So those are things you might want to speak out, because I find, unfortunately, sometimes like we have a bunch of things going on in our mind because we weren't allowed as a child to like speak them. So they really stayed up here, and that causes a lot of confusion as well, and a lot of clutter. So like the sooner you, for me, I found speaking on the pain really helps me to get it out, and that's when the emotion comes. Is when I remember talking to a therapist one time, and I'm like, we scheduled an appointment. I felt fine, and she asked me, like, tell me what we're here to talk about, and I totally felt fine. And then all of a sudden I started saying it. I'm like, I could, as I spoke it, like the emotion came as I spoke it. And sometimes you have to be that counselor for yourself. And what that means is, if it's challenging for you to look at yourself and give grace to yourself, picture yourself as a 4-year-old, but also you could also see yourself in your children. And if they would have went through this, how would that make you feel? Because as a child, you weren't shown how to do these things. No one treated you like that. No one cherished you. So like, you don't cherish yourself. And as a child, like, if you weren't given the time to express your emotional, experience and feelings, then you just stuff them down, and like, oh, they're just up in your head and in your chest, kind of thing, like it's just hanging out there. So it's important to get used to that, because like there's going to be a lot of challenges here, because it looks like you're ready for a rest for a bit. And so if you don't learn how to rest and bring in joy and play with the rest, then you're not going to be able to get back up for long. And that could be why you find yourself ebb and flowing, like starting and stopping, starting and stopping. Another thing I found to help myself, because the thing is, when I was I have to bring more logic into the situation. And once you start to see clearly who's coming for you, yes, it sucks. But two, it's just like, once you see who they are, like I used to give these people so much credit because it seemed like they had gotten to a level that I hadn't. And some people have, but they're so fake as fuck on the inside. Like they're just gross energy. Like it's just, they were so fake, and like you're just like, oh my God. So like the more experience you get with these people, you can kind of like match different like I've experienced this in a number of different scenarios, like environments, but also people. But you can kind of like, those paper dolls that had little tabs, you could take the person and like you can kind of like, oh, okay, that applies to that applies to, okay, and then you match it all up into like an outfit of like, this is who these people are. So like I saw this side of this person, but I didn't see, like, they're really friendly, so it kind of threw me off. But then you see my dad used to be really friendly to everybody else but us, but when we got home, he's like this. So like that charmer that you just got discarded from, it's challenging for you to release that longing feeling, the emotions from the situation, because you haven't seen them clearly yet. So when you realize that person was potentially your dad, this is just me in my experience, you have to figure out if this is for you. It really allowed me to stop, and then you really get tough love for yourself. And then I had an experience with a bunch of coworkers in one environment, and honestly, like, that was a training ground for narcissists, and it was gross fucking trash can energy, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like the fact that humans behave like that, but if you saw them, like, they're friendly to your face, their Facebook page is all like supportive and inclusive, and I they change their Facebook for any activist or any sort, like it's like that's how they support. It's like a costume, but in a workplace, they're the biggest bullies. Okay, so let's go next to where did this oh, you got a loss of, okay, loss of reputation. We're going to talk about that. I'm looking at what else you lost from this situation, loss of reputation. That's not a loss. That's not a loss. The people who have done the healing, just as you've done the healing, the more healing you do, you can recognize these people a mile away. I've gone to the point where I can see a paragraph what someone's written, and I'm like, there's something off about you. And then when I research, I'm like, yep, you're coming for me because you don't like that I'm doing something that you can't. And honestly, you get so good when you're ready to start looking at it. If you're ready to look, you're gonna see the true colors. You gotta be ready for it, because it's, you know what, if you're in the longing stage where you're still feeling like you want to be attached to this person, you're not ready. Like, I mean, that would be a good place. If you want to fast track your healing, you start opening your eyes and start getting logical. Like, what I did, because I didn't know how to be logical, because I was emotional, because I was carrying everyone's emotional burden. So I was emotionally sensitive. I was sensitive. I was empathic. And that's what that is when you're taking on everyone's emotions and you're not worried about yourself. So I had to look at that person and say, the logical thing for me, I finally realized, was, would I do that to that person? No, I would not. Okay, then that person is not for me. Because, well, like, instead of labeling narcissist and abusive and all that stuff, I just had to recognize, like, it's not fair for me to partner up with people who aren't going to treat me the same as I'm going to treat them. And then you also look at these individuals like, does this seem safe? Like, you know, like if, are you, it's one-sided. So like, if you're always going to have to, if you're always typing you know, texting like this, and they're giving you one, that's not somebody, that's not a match. If you're over communicating and they're under communicating, not a match. It's not a match. So what you can do is start matching their energy, but I don't think that's going to change it, because they're like they are because they want to be like that. That's the thing, is they've been doing this for so long and they think it works and they want to stay like that. And you have to need someone to want to change. You can't love the change into them. It just it's pointless. It's exhausting. You're never going to get there. Okay, so why what is keeping you stuck in, what payout is keeping you stuck in this, what is keeping you stuck in this cycle? What payout, what are you getting from this by staying in the cycles? What are you, what's the payout? What's the payout by staying in the cycle? Yeah, avoiding feelings and wanting to be liked. And then also seeking power. And nobody wants to acknowledge that, but it is. It's like, you know what? When you get pushed down so bad, sometimes you just want to feel like up. And sometimes we put ourselves in rooms with people who we know. Like, if you can start seeing certain things in them, but you're ignoring those red flags, you're in the wrong room. And you're becoming a target because you're outdoing everybody. Everyone can see it, and you're pretending like, it's no big deal, but it's a big deal. So sometimes we play small to feel big ourselves, right? And other people try to make you feel small by being big. It's kind of like you're doing it in the way that you're outshining everybody, you know, but you're doing it in the wrong room. They do it by finding vulnerable people and trying to bully them. It's different, but it's the same, right? It's a mirroring from the narc to the empath. And it's like, because they have an overconfidence and a lack of experience, but you have over experience and a lack of confidence. So you end up in the wrong rooms thinking you can't see your self-worth. And that's what these rounds that you're going through are meant to show you, like, who you are and who they aren't. Okay? Wanting control. And I think they're wanting control over you, but you're wanting control because you're just like feeling like you just want some stability and you just want some partnership, but you're going to the wrong people. These people aren't capable of, they're like a mess inside. They may be calm and stoic on the outside, they're a mess inside. Like, that's their illusion, right? They're trying to be, I'm calm, I'm stoic, but literally as soon as you say no to these people, watch out. As soon as you call them out, like, and hold them accountable, watch out. Like, that's what they do, right? Okay, so the payout is wanting to control. So, okay, so how can you, this payout you're looking for other people, we got to give that back to ourselves. So wanting control, what can you control? You can control what room you walk into. You can control building your confidence through getting more experiences and practicing and asking those hard questions of other people, but also of yourself. You can control what you eat, how much you eat, when you eat. You can control your exercise. You can control to be around somebody or not to be around somebody. And some people are like, I can't, I have to show up at the job. Well, I mean, I had to leave 2 jobs and I didn't know what that was going to look like, but it worked out. And that's a personal decision you have to make. That's not something I can tell you about how I experienced it and what it looked like for me. But, and if someone's interested in that, put it in the comments. I can make a video just on that. But it's something you have to feel for yourself, because like there are times when I stayed too long and I just ignored, you know, disrespect and humiliation. I just kind of laughed it off, and I stayed. And so that is a personal decision. And then you can control your emotions. You can control your emotions and not to suppress them. That's not what we're talking about. And feeling negative emotions don't bring negative karma. Holding on to negative emotions gives you negative karma, because when you can't acknowledge that you're feeling bad, you don't know where it's coming from, then you don't know how to stop it, right? So getting good with, you know, getting in touch, like, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What makes me feel that way? And being honest, that's going to help you get there. So like the better you can get with your emotions, this gives you more control, and it also gives you more clarity, because people are controlling you through emotions. And so you can control your emotions, and you can become stoic and calm too. That doesn't mean you're not going to go home and cry later, you know? I've had vulnerable moments with narcissistic individuals where I've cried, and you know, I was disappointed in the fact that like I was being vulnerable and open to them, and they were still lying right to my face, and it just gave me more information, right? So that can be a way of getting answers. It's like it just being vulnerable gives you more answers about who they are and who they can't be for you. Like if you're, you know, in front of them, over communicating, in tears, like just wanting them to do what's right, and they're just sitting there like, this is how I am. What are you so emotional about? And it's just like, that is not a person for you. You know, while I do believe we can be overly emotional and we need to figure that out and work through that, there is reactive abuse. And I'm actually going to be doing a video about this, I think, because I'm trying to figure out like what the difference between trigger and reactive abuse, because like I'm fine and I work well on my own, but like when I get other people around that want me to do all the work, that's when I start getting irritated, right? So it's like, is that reactive? That's, you know, and trigger insinuates like when I go out in public, I feel unsafe, right? And so I have an anxiety attack, and is that the trigger, right? And you know, and the trigger is like the lash out, but people lash out in order to control other people. So they're acting like they're triggered, and they might be, but it's for all the wrong, it's like because they're not getting the attention and you are. So I think we have a lot of different terms and labels here that can kind of confuse the situation at times too. So it's important to get in touch with, like, you know, I had an ex who would try to make me jealous, and he was friends with all these women. He was, you know, emotionally cheating. He was physically cheating. He was always out drinking and partying while I was at home with my kids, because I was a full-time single mom, and like the kids' dad fucked off. And so he would just go out and do whatever. And to be honest, now looking back, I'm like, I used to just blindly trust him. And the evidence that I have already, when I look back to others, I'm like, oh my God, he's probably doing that then and then and then. And I'm like, oh my God. So just really delusional, and like how bad it was and how gross. And so when you get distance from these individuals, that's where you allow that time, that rest is going to give you a lot of clarity to like really get clear and be like, oh my God, no, I'm missing. Because while you're in the thick of the storm, you can't see where the tornado's coming, right? You're just in the tornado. You don't know which way it's going. You know, you're in it. But when you choose to take yourself out of the storm, out of the drama, away from that environment, the clouds clear away. You can start putting 1 and 1 together equals 2. You know, none of this weird shit, and you can really start getting. So if that's where you're at, I really advise getting some rest. If you can take a stress leave, take some time off. Even if you're just avoiding certain people and just not going out on the weekends, you know, that kind of thing, whatever, wherever these people are. Now, I found myself, it was pretty much, if there's one, there's some. And so that's where I went into my hermit mode. And like, I wasn't around anybody. And to be honest, I wasn't being invited out. So it didn't make it hard, because these people didn't want me in their circles, because they felt, some of these women get really weird. And it's weird, because like you can see good things about them, but like, you're not threatened. You're like, yeah, I want to learn. Like if you're in shape, then what are you doing? But that's not what they do. They just want to squash you like a bug and get you out of sight, out of mind. It's really kind of gross when you see it. Okay, so this wanting to be liked, that's a sign that you don't like yourself. So what can you do to like yourself? What can you do within your situation? What can you do to, what would be things that you consider likable? You know, so like, do you need to learn to stand up more for yourself? Maybe, like, to respect yourself, stand up for yourself, right? This is kind of like another insight. What did I do? I wanted to be more active. I wanted to be more healthy. I was making better meals, likable. I was friendlier. I wasn't being led by the crew anymore. I was thinking for myself more instead of just following the bullies around, because I used to be one of those people where I just kind of fall in line because I wanted to be liked. I remember that. Like when I was working at the post office, I just, you know, there's a bunch of girls there, they're all hung out together, and I thought I wanted to be part of that crew, and then I realized who that crew was, and I'm like, ugh, I'm glad they rejected me. The rejection actually is protection, because I'm like, well, I did go to some of their parties here and there. I really realized in the long term, they were never for me. They're actually, it's hard to tell, because you're like, they seem so charming and friendly, and they seem like they have confidence, but it's fake as fuck. They're just picking it up from other people and putting it together as a facade, right? Wanting to what do you, like, for me, I liked when I stood up for myself. I like myself when I stand up for myself, because that's hard. So things that you can start making harder choices, harder decisions, asking the hard questions instead of just following along, because you'll know you're following along if there's anxiety with that decision or in that environment. Like when I was around that group of girls, ladies, whatever, I found I was feeling anxious and I didn't feel like I could be myself. And it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't even want to be around them. I don't have interest in what they're doing. I literally don't have, like, I'm a garden girl. They don't talk about plants. I'm quiet. I like reading. Like, I was kind of like grandma energy at the time. And while I do like one of the girls, we played soccer together, but she is such a, super, you know, when you see it, you just can't unsee it. And you're just like, and then you just get to the point where you're just grossed out. You're like, oh, why did I want to be friends with that person? Because I'm like, you know, because everyone else likes them and they're popular. But the popular people, honestly, are overrated. They're like the people who peaked in high school and just remained at that level for all the wrong reasons, right? And it's like people, it's like what people value. People think, oh, they have status, they have, you know, they're always talking to everybody and they're so confident, but they're not. They do that out of supply. That's not confidence. If they don't do that, they freak out. They get anxious. You know, they need people. They can't be without people. That's why people don't understand. You step away from the narcissist, they're going to shrivel up and, you know, hide, because they need people. They need supply from other people. They need support. They need energy. They need emotion. And so as long as they're getting that, they're always going to be like that mosquito, you know, sucking out your arm. So wanting to be liked, make sure you learn to like yourself. Okay. So if there's things that you don't like about yourself, start there. And some people say, you know, you should like yourself no matter what. Well, sometimes you don't. You know, when I'm not in good shape, I don't feel good. I feel like a potato, and I like to feel my muscles. So you know what? Am I gonna love myself? Yeah. Why? Because I've been through some hard shit, and that's why I'm not able to be at my best right now. So I still love myself because I'm like, I've done some really hard things that a lot of people don't do. But my body is not how I want it to be. It's not worked out, it's not toned. I don't have cardio. That bothers me. I want to play sports. I want to do active, I want to have a more active lifestyle. So I think sometimes we get caught up in the body love to the point where, like, you need to be healthy too, you know? And don't like, if there's something you don't like about your body, like, I'm not suggesting this is in regards to health, you know. You can control your eating habits, right? That's something you can control. So remember, why do you feel low? Why is your self-esteem low? Where do you lack experience? That's the things you can work on there. Wanting to be liked, find your the more you develop yourself, the less you want to be liked, honestly. Because the more you develop yourself, these people that you want to be liked, they start targeting you, and that's where you see their true colors, and you're like, I don't want to be part of that group anyways. And that is your transition into leadership, where you're just like, nope, that's not for me. I'm not for everybody. Instead, right now you could feel like you're for everybody, and you're, you know, it's kind of politician energy. It's like maybe you're unable to say what you want to say because you have a fear of being judged. Well, if you're around the right people, they're not going to judge you, and they're going to understand what you're saying. You're not going to have to feel like they're twisting your words or mocking you behind your back. Those are gossip girls. Those are mean girls and men, you know. They're superficial. They're not for you. So you're avoiding feelings. Did we get through? Yeah, we got those. I've been doing inner child healing, to be honest. That's what I'm getting from this. It feels like you haven't touched into that quite yet. It feels like you've just expected yourself to move through life and just accept what is, and it feels like you've settled, and you're starting to like feel like this is not okay. You could be going into depression, which is, for me, was in a bad place, because that was a time where I recognized I had been taking on so much bad treatment from other cruel people, and it being called love and family, and that's just life, and it wasn't. It was a bunch of messed up belief systems that were shoved down my throat into my brain. And now it's like, you know what, this is not friendship, this is not family, this is not a way to live my life. And like, I think it's time to start grieving that this is not what you thought it was. Disappointment, I think, like, allow yourself to be disappointed at where you're at. I think it's time to, no one's asked you how you feel. So how do you feel? Like, how do you really feel about something? Like asking yourself, like, how do I really feel? How do I feel about where I am right now? And being honest, not like, oh, it's not so bad. It's bad. Okay. And acknowledging, like, what's a painful truth that you're not willing to acknowledge? You know, that's, let's see a fear. What's a fear that's been keeping you stuck with this? What's a painful truth? Where's your fear at? Where's your fear at? Tell me your fear. That's way too much. I don't want to take all those. Okay. Yeah, fear of failure. You think you need these people to be successful, and that's the problem. Because I used to think that too. I used to think I need network. You know, I need, oh, you think these are going to be potential clients. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's false. You think you need these people because you've seen other people. Like, you think you need people, period. You think you need people, period. That's the problem. You don't need anybody. Someone recently said something like humans are herd animals, are meant to be connected. Not like this. This is not a connection. This is abuse. That's the difference. You need to learn the difference between a connection and abuse. And you need to take some time out to start seeing that. You shouldn't be begging for someone's understanding like this. Whenever you feel like this, whenever you feel like you're pulling teeth from somebody, like you're always the one reaching out, like you're always the one making the effort, like you're always going out of your way to say, see, sometimes these people will come over to you, but it's very rare, but it's every once in a while, and it's just for information. Listen to the energy. Is it coming across like you're being interviewed instead of like, you know, because these people will act all sympathetic and use your energy to gossip. So like if you're struggling, they love that. So like they're gonna be like really kind and caring, like, oh, like I remember the girls, they would have like they would celebrate everyone's birthdays in that group, right? And they would make a big deal. They would sing the song, bring balloons and all that stuff. And then so like this one girl, I had to work right across from her, the main one, and so she was trying to like befriend me, but I'd already seen a few things from her that I didn't enjoy, and I wasn't like. I had to work right across from her. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make the best of the situation. But so she brought me these like 2 chocolate bars in one day. Happy birthday. And it's just like, it was the, you know, it just felt like, and somebody was like, well, at least she thought of you. It wasn't that. It was like the most kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I think it felt like a little bit too late. And because it was like on my last year that I was working at the post office. So I'd already been working with her for a number of years, and then just the last year, then she decided, and it was just really weird the way she did it. And she just really, you know, she abused a lot of people. She was just trying to be friends with everybody because that meant she had ears on things, and that made her feel big because she had more numbers, right? That's the numbers. It's quality over quantity, and I know that's hard to see right now. That's something you're gonna experience. The more you spend in hermit mode, you're gonna like it. It's gonna be emotional. There's gonna be a lot of sadness that's coming out. Expect that. That's what depression is. You're tired of carrying this. You can no longer carry it. Your body is saying enough is enough. And because you can't see it and you keep going back into it, you keep picking up more and more and more. And your body's like, no, we're loaded up. There's no more room. No more room for pain. You have to start recognizing where you're picking this up because we can't add anymore. And this is where the education comes in, and acknowledging like people don't mean they're gonna support you. You don't need the support. You need to learn to support yourself. That's what this is about. This is what's happening for you because you're surrounded by all the wrong people, and it's. Let's check your money. I always like to check the money because people like the money. And let's see what your money looks like as long as if you want to stay in this crew. Oh, get some fresh air. Yeah, breathing room. Time to yourself. That's what it is. And it says stay positive. Optimism. Slow and steady wins a race. Look at we've zoomed out from the world. Right? And then this is up close of your wishes, okay? So getting good at what you want. okay? Instead of like what you think other people are telling you that you want. You know what I had to figure out, like when I was around these people, I was like, I want to make money, I want to do this, I want to do that. And like I had goals that were similar to theirs. And I thought I wanted a social group, and I thought I wanted to go out and drink with them. And then it got to the point where I just, I felt like shit. I was tired and I had no energy to drink. And then I realized like I would rather rest than go out and socialize. So I think that's what's happening for you right now. I do see windfall on the bottom, but it's time to start from ground zero. That's what it is. Fake it till you make it. They don't have to know. Visualize. See it as if it's already yours. That's how you start manifesting. And that's how you start figuring out, it's time to make a plan. Like you might not be like, I wouldn't say you're in creator mode right now. You're learning like what you want and what you don't want. So you really don't want to be creating quite yet, because you're gonna move toward. Here's the thing: when you're carrying all this pain within you, you're gonna make more. Like you need to get clear on where the pain is coming from. Remember I said that. So like now is not a time to like. It's to get to know yourself, to actually pick what you want, based on what you want, and not other people trying to tell you, based on their failed dreams, or trying to keep you close because they can't handle. These narcissists really need the people, lots of people. You're living off like breadcrumbs. These people need to own all the bakeries because they need all that energy, So, I would focus just on your emotional releasing right now. You're grieving what you didn't receive, what you didn't get, your frustrations, how you're feeling about that, like how you're really feeling. When I was dealing with tricksters, deceivers, liars, and troublemakers, and like I got caught up in that hurt people, and you know what, they don't know what they're doing, and then they're this was done to them as a child, and like I had to go past that. I had to acknowledge like, no, they're doing this intentionally. They have control just like I have control, because like I've been hurt, I've had bad childhood. That doesn't mean I'm doing what they're doing. So like the hurt people to me, I took that off the table. That's because I've been hurt and I'm not reacting like that, right? And then they don't know what they're doing. I mean, you don't know what you're doing, but you're still not doing what they're doing. So take that off the table. They know what they're doing, okay? They've been doing this for a while. This is why they do this. They've gotten real good at it, because this is how they get supply and how they survive. So when you start removing excuses for them, you're going to have to remove the excuses for you. Okay, I know who these people are. I can no longer make excuses for being around them, so I'm going to have to start learning how to say no. I'm going to have to back myself away. They are going to sense that, so beware of that. Start getting a plan in action. You need an escape plan now, because it's just a matter of when, not if. Once you start moving away from the herd, you become targeted, and they don't like that because you're one of the supply, whether you like it or not. This is a weird thing. They don't want you to have control. They want control over you. It's like a weird energy vampire thing where they're just like, I get source from you. But they need you to be seeing them in a certain way. Like they need you to look at them like they're the best thing. They want you to be jealous of what they have. They want you to be jealous of their friends. And so you may notice these people talk about a lot of material needs when you are, like when I was a single parent, a lot of these people would come over and just talk to me about stuff, and they'll invite people to like parties when they know that you're not invited, but they'll say it right in front of you. Like they're very, what do you call it? Tactless? Is that what it is? Or I think there's another word I'm looking for. Cruel. Because there's a way about doing things. There's a way, I think we learned that in kindergarten when you're inviting kids to like either invited everybody or like it was done privately. Like you don't just exclude people. And if obviously there are times you can't invite everyone, but the fact that there's a way to do it where you don't have to boast about it and make it people aware that like I don't value you and I'm not bringing you here. And the thing is like, it's not that deep and that's okay. But these people are, that's not how they rock. Like when you decide it's not that deep and I don't want anything to do with you, watch out. Because while you were sitting there, not making a big deal about not being invited, when you decide to walk away from them and you start like holding them accountable, holy fuck, watch out. They cannot handle this. I've experienced this so many times. They cannot handle it. And what they're going to do is they're going to amp up their good behavior. You're going to see them being more like policing other people, being extra friendly, extra helpful, extra victim-y. Oh, I'm so, I brought in donuts. Anyone want donuts? Yeah, because remember, I'm nice. Don't listen to her. Remember, I'm nice. Remember I brought, see, there's a point to their giving. It's not like they just want to be nice and bring donuts into everybody. They want you, because when they need something from you, when they need a favor, when they need to deliver a package, or when they need to watch your kids, or whatever, like, they're going to remember, like, remember I brought you that donut? You mean that thing full of sugar and refined carbs? Like, that's what you consider, like, now I have to watch your kid because you gave me something that gave me diabetes? Are you kidding me? And that's the exchange. It's so superficial. Your exchange is authentic, vulnerable, and kind, and theirs is so fake as fuck and strategic, and they're trying to get something for nothing. They're like salesmen, and you may feel that from them. They're very salesmen. They laugh the same at everyone's jokes. They're very like I said, they go around and interact, but if you listen for it and you learn, you know what to, you just see it's fake. It's fake. So I'm gonna close out with okay, so what I have here is, okay, what do you got to let go of? I have that, and then I'm also going to pull out one way that this is affecting your health currently, because maybe that, sometimes we need a little bit extra, you know, to just get motivated to move away from this. Okay, so what do you need to let go of? Hatred. Okay, so resentment, because you know what? Okay, that's the thing. Remember I told you, when you don't release your emotions, you hold on to it. You got to feel the hatred, but you got to let go of it. And so what that means is, like, whenever you feel resentment and blame, that means you haven't finished the grieving process. You have to keep going. Okay? Because what's going to happen is you're going to feel like you have to validate yourself because nobody saw what they did to you and no one's willing to recognize it. So you're going to feel like you have to do that for yourself. And so you may put yourself and make choices that are not for you at the time. This is things like, if this is say that you broke up with somebody or they cheated on you and you feel the need to get in a relationship really quickly because you want to prove your worth, that is going to hurt you. And like, I know narcissists do that, but they're hurt people forever. Hurt people are hurt people, right? You don't need to continue that hurt. So you need time out because you don't want to keep choosing. Something in you is being drawn to these people and it's a wounding inside. So as long as you kind of go by that and let that be your beacon, you're going to keep choosing hurt people because you haven't released the pain inside. And that's why it's important to engage with your emotions, get good with feeling them and releasing them and managing them. Okay. So, like I said, you feel resentment when you try to see, here's the thing. If you get up too quickly, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel like this is frustrated. I'm pissed off and I'm exhausted. That's a sign to rest. You're going to have time to get up later. This is not the time. You don't know what direction, where are you going? You have no direction yet. You need to, your pain is leading you right now. Your pain is making the choices. Those emotions are fogging you and making you think, I have to do this because I don't feel good enough. I feel worthless. You need to develop self-worth. So you don't have a direction right now. You are the direction. You have to go inside. That is where you're stuck. And if you don't believe me, keep trying. Keep reaching out. You're going to find the same person in a different cycle and more of the same pain. And you don't have to believe me. I had to go through it a couple times. So like when you feel that need to go back, that's your ego. And that says, you know what? I need to give to myself. I need to recognize and filter out this pain. Like go after that pain. I'm still feeling it. I haven't gone deep enough. I haven't actually acknowledged how this really did hurt me. And I haven't expressed it, you know, through tears and through words. Go get it out, you know, get it out and release it. Give yourself permission because you weren't taught this. You weren't allowed as a child. So now as an adult, you have to give yourself permission because like nobody else did as a child. Grieve that. How come I'm holding all this pain? This came from a childhood of pain because this is where the pattern is coming from. So go back and grieve what you weren't given. The fact that nobody taught you how to advocate for yourself. No one developed self-worth within you. Nobody gave to you that you give. And so what you're giving to other people, that is something that you need to give to you. You know, you're giving to other people. And I'm looking at these two cards. I have two sets of cards here are of like not negative and positive like traits. And one is care and one is rebellious. You are rebellious with your care. You need to redirect that within yourself for a long period of time. Let me tell you, this takes years sometimes. Okay, you don't need to believe me, but if you want to keep going at the pattern, it's going to fuck with your money if you keep going back in. Yeah, and okay, you need to let go of injustice and hurt done to others. Right now, you can't be always like, okay, so that's, there are times when I experienced sexual abuse in a workplace. And what I did was I reported it to the police so that there would be a record. And I tried to go to lawyers, but I was so financially struggling at the time, which is obviously why I was targeted. These people do this intentionally. They knew I wouldn't be able to fight back. And it was also, they worked for like a large company. So there was no way, like if I were to take this company to court, I wouldn't be able to, I would have lost my house. My health was already very bad at the time. And so I had to pick me over justice. And so what I did was instead, like I said, I made a police report. That's the best I could do, because I'm like, if this happens again, I can't carry the whole responsibility. Like, other people have to advocate for themselves too and speak up on it. And I have to actually look after me as well. And some people may not like the sound of it. I don't either. But when I realized like the time it's going to take to get something in, and the amount it's going to, I had no guarantee that I was going to get any outcome from it. And when I talked to Laura, she's like, well, it might be like 25,000. It might be. And the thing was, I had recordings, I had emails, I had a witness, and I had that on record. But I didn't have any money. Like, I literally would have lost my house. And I also knew in myself, I didn't have the energy to do this. And to be honest, I had been experiencing this for 2 years. And so I honestly just wanted to get away from these individuals. I didn't want to speak to them. Like, I could have gone through, like, there's a, what is it? There's another board that you can go through, the tribunal. But that would have meant I have to be representing myself. And that was something I just couldn't. I knew at that time I just couldn't do it. And some people aren't going to like that, but I'm like, you know what? I just couldn't. I had to choose me. And that was really hard, because I didn't feel, even if I did choose to go to court, I didn't think it was going to get me what I wanted. And so I'm like, you know what? I have to choose to heal myself. And that's what I chose. And so it's challenging, because like, I don't know, like, from what I understand, you can only speak on certain things, because like, if there is no sort of like case against them, like where you've taken them to court and won a case, like, I don't think I'm allowed to speak on it, which seems really unfair, because you know, there's a large group of people that did some really bad things in there. And I don't know, I haven't ever seen karma happen in real life outside of like people's own original actions. You know, like, I mean, if you want to keep going in this cycle, you're going to keep getting that outcome, right? So at some point we have to take accountability for ourselves. So like, I haven't seen people get karma except for like from what their own shitty actions are. Like, you know what I mean? If they stay with toxic people, they're going to have a toxic lifestyle. That's just what I've had to learn myself. I was that person. So like, that's where we got to get better with this and pick up the patterns. Okay, so let's see with the health. Oh, during this process, be sure to redirect some forgiveness with you, because that's where the grieving came from. I wish I knew what I knew now, but nobody taught it to me, and I feel like that should have been information provided as a child, you know, or like somehow in childhood. And the fact that I didn't receive it, that's the trauma. Okay, so compulsion. Compulsion is nervous. So it is a behavioral disorder defined by an irresistible urge to perform certain acts which the person can't resist without feeling anxiety. Compulsion can involve sexuality, food, drink, shopping, excessive cleanliness, etc. So nervous compulsion concerns an aspect of my personality that I judge to be negative, and that annoys me so much I refuse to see it. I repress it deep inside of me. As long as I refuse to see it and accept with love it, life will make me experience more and more situations where I will have to face this side of my personality. So when I experience nervous compulsion, I examine what bothered me. I accept with love to face it instead of fleeing. I accept with love to be a human being with strengths, weaknesses, qualities, and defects. I become aware of the fact that I am my most severe judge. I forgive myself, and I learn to love myself. The fact of accepting with love myself as I am will enable me to thrive harmoniously, and I will no longer need to seek release through compulsion. That's interesting. Okay, what are we going to get on the way out? Ooh, let's get Flower Oracle. Let's get you one card. I'm going to close this because it's over an hour. Here we go. Doubting will only cause adversity and delays. Quit it. Stop doubting yourself. You know, once you work through some of the emotions, you're gonna work. It's gonna help with your intuition as well, because those emotions, they're fast energy. Be aware of fast energy. They flood. They flood in fast, and then you're kind of like all over the place, right? So if you can practice the pause and look at it and ask the questions before it floods your mind, kind of thing, or floods your body, whatever floods the feelings flood in. Try to pause it, like hold that back a little bit, or while it's happening, just be like, okay, like I'm allowing this in. Where is this coming from? Where is it? You know, like slow yourself down enough to start asking questions in the emotion. You know, because that's when you practice that, you'll get better, and it'll get to a point where you're like, you know what? I'm gonna cry. I know I'm crying. It's because of this, and let's just get it out. We're good. Okay, let's get back at it. And expect that you're going to have to take some time out when you come through like those emotional, frustrational places where you're holding yourself like to a high standard. It's like you're trying to unlearn something that you learned in childhood, and now you have to learn something that you should have learned in childhood. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes a lot of time and effort and practice. And you were meant to be doing this with a guide and support that was kind and nurturing, and you didn't receive that. So give yourself some time and space to learn. Hermit mode. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments if you're enjoying these kind of reads like this. I like to kind of do a little bit of different stuff all over the place. So when you let me know what you like, it helps me prioritize that. For me, it helped me a lot to recognize and purge my emotions and in order to manage them. And once I was able to manage them, it made it easier to bring in more logic and create more patience and pause before rushing into impulsive decisions that were never going to benefit me. So this is why I do these readings. This is why I go. A lot of people don't like to, they think it's like, oh, it's negative emotions, that's bad. And it's like, you know, I'm like, no, you gotta, if you hold these in, that's bad. If you don't want to acknowledge emotions, that's not healthy, because then you're like, why am I feeling this way? You know, you just think. There's like a logical mind, there's like an emotional place, but then there's like the, I think would that be the ego? I'm not into like labels and things. I'm not a doctor at all. It's just, I'm explaining how I experience these things and what I went through when I went through them. But I wonder if that would be, yeah, like the ego mind that keeps us stuck in like old patterns. But yeah, so hopefully that helps, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching.